All right, you and I are diving into a wild story called Please Stay Away from the Villainess's Shop. Make sure to like and subscribe to join our community. Now let's get into it. Maidlane's father is absolutely livid today and demands she leave the House of Crestwood immediately. She apparently tanked every business she touched, losing 10 billion gold, and her stepmother Beatrice definitely played a part. The Duke doesn't care about the truth, but our girl is thrilled to just take the settlement money he tosses her. As payment for leaving, her father expects her to grovel, but she isn't following that script this time. In fact, she's been waiting for this eviction, so she happily bids her dear old father goodbye. She packs her bags instantly, planning to vanish before they change their minds about the gold. Rose, her only loyal maid in the entire manor, is shocked to see her lady actually packing up to go. Maddie says she's just following her heart, making Rose think she's finally going to propose to Duke Arthur of Northumbria. But that was the original soul's obsession, not hers. She's been stuck in this fantasy novel for months. In this story, Duke Arthur and her half-sister Charlotte are supposed to be the glorious main characters. Meanwhile, Maidlane is the pathetic villainess who gets engaged to the Duke, only to end her own life. She tried returning to her own world, but gave up. Now, she's just going to do whatever she wants. Her real goal, opening a small stationery shop, a dream she's held onto for a very long time. Obviously, Rose has no idea what she's talking about and is terrified her lady is about to fail again. She warns her about how hard life will be outside the palace, losing her silk dresses and fine dining. But Maddie couldn't care less. Her maid is practically in tears as she issues one final, desperate warning. She warns that the cruel Beatrice will hunt her down once she's vulnerable. Maidlane appreciates the genuine concern. Rose begs her to stay for protection, but Maddie's mind is made up. She promises to send for her later. As she descends the grand staircase, the staff whisper about her being the cursed bloodline of the family. They wonder where she's off to, knowing her mother was the last direct heir of the draconic legacy. Born of the cursed Marquis Sterling, most with that blood don't even make it past their youth. Ignoring the loud gossip, she heads to her carriage, intending to make a quick trip down to the slums. But before rolling out, she gives them a silent parting gift, a middle finger and a very bright insult. She's gone. Lady Beatrice will surely force Charlotte to marry the Duke now that the competition is out. But Maddie knows her stepmother might still try to kill her just to keep things tidy for their future. Wait for it, because before she opens her shop, she needs protection from the kingdom's strongest knight. The carriage doesn't stop in the city or at a guard post, but inside a silent cemetery. A millennium ago, demons from the outer realms brought chaos until one legendary man sacrificed himself to stop them. He sealed those demons within a magical blade. This hero's legend is known throughout every corner of the kingdom. In the original novel, Duke Arthur finds this sword and becomes a total superstar, nearly being named the Emperor. But check this out, because Maidlane finds the sword first and pulls it from the ground. Suddenly, a stunning young man with dark hair and piercing blue eyes appears before her like a powerful genie. It's Dominic, the 17-year-old savior of the realm. She hands him back his blade and asks for a contract immediately. He isn't surprised, but he needs to know her price to see if she's worthy. He's baffled when she only asks for protection. He's ready to conquer the whole kingdom for her if needed. She insists all she wants is a stationery shop, and he just needs to be her supernatural security guard. Dominic hilariously thinks stationery is the name of her new empire, so she explains it's just for kids. She knows if he fulfills her wish, he'll become human again, making this a total win-win for him. This should be the easiest job he's ever had. Dominic ponders it for a moment, then reaches out. They shake hands to seal the deal and instantly teleport right in front of the Royal Academy. Dominic is ready to storm the main building, but Maidlane points to a run-down 2-story shack. Trust me, you and I are about to witness the start of something legendary in this tiny building. Her noble titles were revoked, but this run-down shop is the only thing her mother left in her name. Look at this shack. Dominic can't believe he's living here, but stick with me. Everything is about to change. Well, this is exactly why you have to read the fine print before signing any legal contract. Inside, the place is a wreck, but Alara is already picturing where the children's toys will go. Just dreaming of a shop full of kids makes her happy. Dominic sees her heart and helps. He starts cleaning. See, back in her old world, Alara was an orphan raised by kind strangers. She grew up strong, especially thanks to a sweet shop owner who always gave her treats. Now, she wants to be that same light for every child who steps into her new shop. Such a pure dream. Let us see if she can pull this off. Next day, she heads to the palace with Dominic, now in sword form, to get her business license. Her mood is perfect until a man she barely knows shows up to ruin her entire day. It is Duke Sterling. He knows she left her family, but he demands his fiancée return home. Sterling used to be kind, but once he charmed Alara, his true, nasty colors finally came out. He treats her like she is talentless while secretly having a scandalous affair with her sister, Serafina. They kept it secret, but when Alara confronts him, he gaslights her like she is the one at fault. He even has the gall to tell her not to worry, because they are still getting married. Alara does not get why he is bothering her when he belongs with her sister, Serafina. She tells him she knows about the affair, but he tries to manipulate her like a fool. He thinks she is still that desperate girl who loved him, but our Alara is totally done. She is finally done and officially breaks up with him. She even gives him advice, telling him to marry Serafina instead to keep the political alliance between their two families perfectly intact. Surprisingly, the Duke has no interest in the sister, even if she is the supposed beauty. He only wants Alara, so she tells him to go marry Lady Hildegard if he is desperate. Sterling is completely baffled. He has no idea what is going on in her head right now. Now pay attention. She draws her sword and slams it down, showing him how serious she is. She formally demands an annulment, telling him a farewell letter will be arriving very soon. She walks away, leaving the Duke standing there like a fool, still processing what just happened. He thinks she is just acting out for attention because of her petty jealousy. What a total, arrogant narcissist. He is so arrogant he believes a girl obsessed with him could never change overnight. Alara walks back, and he actually expects an apology, which honestly makes her burst out laughing. To her, the biggest flaw in this story is that the leading man is a guy like him. He grabs her, suspecting she is cheating on him. Talk about total audacity. She points to a stranger, saying anyone is 100 times better than marrying him. She wants him to realize how much she hates him and calls him pure trash right to his face. Alara walks off feeling proud. She enters the government agency and gets her license fast. Even the clerk looks at her like she is bound to fail again. Everyone doubts her talents. She is known for having zero skill, but she does not care and leaves with a smile. A man picks up a document she dropped, and while she is tidying up, he asks questions. The man asks about her marriage to the Duke, which honestly just makes her blood boil all over again. He finds her amusing, then she realizes he is the stranger she pointed at earlier, but he is gone. Back home, she and Dominic talk about spending that 200 million gold she received from her family. Half goes to a witch to fix the house, while the rest buys shop delights. But first, the letter. She blames her family for stalling her removal from the House of Vane, which is why the Duke keeps bugging her. Dominic cannot understand why a noble lady like her would ever throw away her high title and status like this. But she needs to cut them off to be free. Giving up her family name is the only way to get it. And trust me, you and I are going to love seeing her finally get that freedom. Stick with me because Our Lady is finally reclaiming her name, which makes Dominic feel quite reliable. She finishes her letters to the Duke and her family, officially cutting every toxic tie she has. She starts absorbing the original Melody's tragic memories after waking up in this strange new body. She understands the pain now. The original girl's childhood was a nightmare among the young nobility. Bullied for her blood, abused by a stepmother, and ignored by a father who never cared. Her father only protected her to save his own reputation. He hated the idea of people gossiping. So everyone treated her like royalty on the surface, but their eyes were filled with pure venom. To survive that cold world, she built a wall of arrogance and snobbery around her heart. But the new Mel isn't looking for revenge yet. She just wants these people out of her life. Now pay attention, because Dominic spots some suspicious figures following them through the streets the next day. They're likely spies for the Duke and Lady Hildegard, but with Dominic around, Mel isn't concerned. During their walk, they stumble upon a young boy who looks like he is in a lot of pain. She tries to help, but the boy is stubborn. Dominic just sighs and carries him home for treatment. At the house, the kid thinks the place looks totally haunted. Dominic just starts using magic on him. Dominic heals the boy's knee in seconds, while the little guy tries to act like a brave knight. Then Mel spots an antique music box he's hiding. He's embarrassed, expecting her to laugh at his junk. To his shock, she loves it. He's finally met someone who sees the beauty in old, forgotten treasures. He admits it is a gift for his brother, though he's worried it might not be grand enough. Mel reassures him that his brother will love it, and a sweet bond begins to form between them. The boy gets sleepy, so Mel lets him rest upstairs for a while until his carriage finally arrives. He starts sleep-talking, asking if this abandoned-looking shop is really safe from ghosts. It is pretty hilarious. Mel can't believe he called her shop abandoned. But hey, we know that kids always tell the truth. While Dominic takes the kid up, Mel decides it is time to remodel this place and make it appealing. They start by clearing the backyard. It is a mess, but they're working together to make it shine. Dominic reveals he brainwashed their stalkers. It wasn't in the contract, but Mel is definitely not complaining. Suddenly, she finds a sword in the grass emitting a terrifying dark aura. Dominic rushes to protect her. Ice magic rains down on them. Dominic throws up a barrier, but Mel is just fascinated by the stones. You and I both know Mel is different, because she's literally admiring the magic while being attacked. When the ice targets her directly, Dominic gets serious and forces the magic into its true human form. It is a demon from the sword. He calls himself the Moonlight Winter Devil, looking absolutely freezing. He was freed by accident after a century of being sealed away. Even Dominic can't fully control him. There is no need for panic, though. Dominic can just seal the loudmouthed demon right back into the blade. Mel is impressed. In a world without modern freezers, this demon is basically a walking gold mine of ice. She has a brilliant idea. Slushies. Dominic warns the demon that Mel is even more dangerous than he is. He tells the devil he was tricked into a contract too. Mel just sighs at their dramatic conversation. They only have 30 minutes before the demon is sealed again. Releasing him fully would take too much mana. There are 4 demons in that sword, and apparently this winter guy is actually the weakest of them. The demon is terrified of Mel's gaze. He thinks she is going to execute him right then and there. With time running out, she orders him to produce massive amounts of high-quality, eternal ice for her shop. The poor guy is exhausted. He'd actually rather be sealed back in the sword than work this hard. He starts to get teary and views her as a demonic human while he follows her strict orders. The devil creates ice that only melts once eaten, allowing her to generate the perfect winter slushies. He hates it at first, then loves it. He calls it a revolution before vanishing back into the sword. We will hopefully see our slushy machine again soon. Then, she wakes up the young boy for a treat. He loves the slushy, but trust me, you and I are going to want to see what happens next. You and I are about to see Melina find a young boy's crush adorable as he boards his royal carriage. The boy promises to promote her new shop and return once the curiosity shop officially opens its doors to everyone. She hands him a bottle of ice nectar to share with his siblings before he sets off for home. Melina's letter demanding to end her engagement finally reaches Duke 𝒂𝒊𝒅, who suddenly recalls his father's final dying wish. His father wanted him to marry Melina, because her bloodline is blessed with the ancient and cursed power of the dragons. As the heir to House Sterling, Melina's potential is massive, and her children would inherit that legendary draconic strength. Before passing, his father ordered him to wed her to keep that dragon might under the Duke's absolute and total control. He tries to ignore the letter, but is shocked to find a sharp warning written on the very bottom. Melina threatens to expose him as a cheater if he doesn't cooperate, which makes the arrogant Duke feel absolutely furious. Just then, his sister Isabella, who was born from a scandal and hates disloyalty, confronts him to see if he really cheated. He denies it, but this sharp girl knows that having a secret and intimate bond with another woman is definitely considered cheating. She leaves the room, feeling completely disappointed in her brother's lack of honor. Meanwhile, her father receives Melina's letter confirming she is leaving and is no longer a daughter of House Sterling. Her father is frustrated, not because he loves his daughter, but because this will surely damage his high reputation. Her stepmother, Lady Genevieve, believes the girl is a fool who will eventually come back crawling to them on her knees. Watch this part carefully. Lady Genevieve suggests the Duke should actually accept Melina's request just to scare her. Noble families almost never break ties, and most people drop their cases within the 4-week adjustment period anyway. Genevieve expects Melina to fail, but she secretly wants this taken to court so Melina can be removed forever. She wants her own daughter, Serafina, to take the spot, and the Duke agrees to submit the final paperwork. They submit the request to the Crown and send Melina a letter, fully expecting her to regret her choice immediately. Melina is overjoyed to get the letter, but her companion Damien wonders why the Duke hasn't replied to her. He likely wants to save their engagement, but that doesn't matter since the contract will soon be completely void. You and I saw this coming, right? Once she's a commoner, that marriage contract is legally dead. Kingdom laws forbid nobles from marrying commoners, and she's counting down the seconds until she is finally free forever. They are so busy talking that they don't notice their new house has finally finished its magical shop transformation. With the building now looking like a proper store, the two settle down outside and dream about their big future. Melina wants to hire elite chefs, sell exotic chocolate, and even find a powerful alchemist to create more magical goods. Damien warns her that finding an alchemist is hard, but our determined girl has her own unique perspective. Since she already bought a 1,000-year-old legendary sword, she thinks hiring a simple mage shouldn't be that difficult. He laughs but agrees, and she even plans to put the ancient demons in his sword to work too. The two start making honey-comb toffee for their grand opening tomorrow, though she doesn't have much money for a party. You and I can feel the joy here. She's certain her shop will one day be full of happy memories. Meanwhile, at the High Tower, a scout reports to Master Julian that several ancient magical artifacts have been stolen recently. The investigator has 3 suspects, including a duke and an earl whose mana levels have become very strange lately. But Lady Melina Sterling is his top suspect, because her new stationery shop is pulsing with very unusual and suspicious magic. He has done his research and believes her shop is a front for something bigger, so Julian decides to investigate. Julian is actually the man Melina met in the capital, and he finds her special mana to be absolutely fascinating and unique. Little Arthur runs to find his older brother, the prince, to share some exciting news. The boy excitedly tells him that he has finally found the woman he wants to marry and cherish forever. The prince is worried when he learns she is older, a commoner, and apparently just wants to sell him lots of things. He suspects Melina might be a scammer or a spy, and is now genuinely concerned for his brother's safety. Arthur hands him a gift, a bottle of grape nectar made from eternal ice that Melina gave him earlier. Since rare ice is hard for a commoner to find, the prince decides it's time to go and visit her. Their talk is cut short when Duke 𝒂𝒊𝒅 arrives at the palace to propose a new royal business deal. Arthur leaves quickly, hating the Duke. Trust me, you and I are definitely going to want to see what happens next. All right, you and I are watching a villainous open, a magical candy shop. Duke Harrington presents Prince Alastair with a perfume sample and a jeweled fountain pen. It is a masterpiece, but Alastair thinks it is far too expensive for common children. Harrington intends to target wealthy parents by partnering with Lady Beatrice and Lady Seraphina. The Duke is a ruthless businessman who has crushed every small shop in the kingdom. Before accepting, the prince asks if rumors about his affair with Seraphina are actually true. He warns him to stay away from her, since he is already engaged to Adelaide. Harrington's arrogance causes the prince to reject the investment, seeing it as a family issue. Alastair refuses to invest, leaving the Duke to lament the loss of potential royal profits. Meanwhile, Mel's stationery shop is quiet today, so she decides it is time to innovate. She comes up with a brilliant idea: beer-flavored candies as a new shop treat. Since children see their parents drinking, they will love a candy version they can enjoy. Dominic offers magic to help, but first they must learn the brewing process from experts. Mel heads out to meet her neighbors and starts promoting her new shop to everyone. She meets a girl named Lily who works at the local tavern, her perfect research spot. The next day, Mel meets the owner, Martha, to pitch her idea for the project. Martha likes the concept, but admits she is closing the tavern for good very soon. Lily explains that a dangerous gang called the Crimson Brotherhood is extorting all small businesses. Rumor has it a powerful noble is backing them, and shops cannot afford the fees. Now pay attention here, because someone just started banging on the door screaming to open. Martha and Lily panic, shoving Mel into a corner so she stays out of trouble. When a thug strikes Lily, Mel rushes out of hiding to defend her new friends. The thugs laugh, thinking a shopkeeper is no threat, but Mel is about to surprise them. Using Dominic's borrowed power, she sees every move in slow motion. Bring it on, idiots. She asks if they have any cash, and they mockingly brag about their heavy pockets. That is music to Mel's ears, as she takes them down and confiscates all their gold. She is so focused on the loot that she misses the crowd of neighbors gathering. They watch in awe as she beats the thugs, praising her as a warrior of justice. A man starts questioning her, and noticing his reporter badge, Mel sees a PR chance. She uses the interview to promote her shop, hoping for a positive article in the news. Afterward, she finds Martha in the crowd and asks to start their candy project together. Martha agrees instantly, promising to do whatever it takes to help Mel succeed and win. You and I just witnessed a shopkeeper become a legend, and the reporter saw it too. He vows to document her story, feeling his passion for journalism finally waking up again. Back at the shop, Dominic tries to help, but his raw power is way too unstable. Mel decides to cook herself, but Dominic is worried about her lack of basic magical talent. He is shocked when she reveals she was born without mana because of a family curse. That is why she was rejected from the academy, but Dominic thinks that is a lie. He points out that she absorbed his energy earlier, which is impossible if she was empty. To prove his theory, he begins a test, asking her to identify the glowing colors. She only sees white, proving her mana is perfectly pure and incredibly rare in this world. She cannot be a wizard because her power comes from life itself, making her a gifted alchemist. As an alchemist, she can create anything, even summoning a legendary winter moon demon with ease. Only the legendary Master Isaac could use alchemy like this, but he is long gone now. And trust me, you and I are definitely going to want to see what she creates. All right, you and I are about to see Mel level up her skills with Dominic's help. To test her mana, they whip up some magic beer candies, and it's a total success. But Mel hits her limit. Dominic tries a candy to relax, but his voice starts sounding really strange. He cast a spell earlier out of pure boredom, and now his voice changes, which he thinks the kids will love. They stare at each other for a tense moment before going insane with a brand new idea for their candies. They decide to pack a simple voice-altering magic trick inside every single beer candy they sell. Now, pay attention. The handsome Isaac is planning his move on Mel with young Henry's help. Henry might only be 5, but he's a tiny genius sent to investigate our mysterious shopkeeper. The boy greets her with the most adorable bow to lure her in for his first mission. Mel kneels down to his height, which is exactly what he wanted so he could secretly gauge her magic level. He asks her name while secretly measuring her power, acting like a curious little student eager to learn her secrets. She offers him a special pencil case engraved with a powerful ancient phrase, "The truth will set you free." Mel is so kind to him that Henry almost starts to trust her, but he's still very wary of her secrets. Mel teases the boy about her ability to know exactly what every child wants, making the young genius fear her. Convinced she's a danger to all children, he sprints back to his guardian, the noble and powerful Sir Isaac. Isaac presents himself as the boy's guardian as she hands him the pencil case and some magic beer candy. When they touch, Mel feels something quite unusual, while Isaac senses a unique mana flow from her ancient bloodline. She enthusiastically promotes her stationery shop to the pair, before waving them both a very fond farewell. Isaac resolves to keep up the father and son act, even asking young Henry to keep calling him Dad. But then Henry asks who his mother would be, and yeah, that shuts Isaac right up. Mel returns from a new business deal, but Dominic has even more shocking news waiting for her. Her recent exploits have actually made it onto the front page of the morning newspaper. She reads the article about how she defeated 17 Red Priest pirates single-handedly, with witnesses calling her a hero. The reporter also promotes her shop, mentioning the voice-changing candies and her special slushes that never seem to melt. Now here's the pivot. She's worried the Duke and her father will see the news, and they won't be happy. But Dominic has it all covered. He's already brainwashed her stalkers to spread complete lies about her daily activities. He's feeding them stories of her being crazy, and broke so the noble houses look the other way. Those snobby lords will definitely believe their spies over some commoners' newspaper report anyway. The academy students are curious about the shop, but too proud to enter a lowly commoner's place. They refuse to believe commoners could ever produce such high-quality magical goods on their own. Young Axion reads the news and thinks Mel defeated those pirates just to save him. He's daydreaming about her as a night when a new transfer student, 𝒂𝒅𝒄, approaches him. He's 𝒂𝒅𝒄, a child wizard sent secretly by the Magic Tower to prevent any of the academy students from being kidnapped. He finds the shop suspicious and marks Mel as a potential child-snatching villain out for blood. Axion remembers Mel telling him to bring his friends, so he happily agrees to take the young wizard along. Cashin gets a letter from his brother, who's heading out to see his dream woman, Mel. Cashin can't wait any longer. He has to investigate this suspicious commoner shop before anything bad happens. The Emperor lost most of his children to unknown diseases, so he's extremely protective of young Axion. Axion finally arrives at the shop, bringing the secret wizard spy right to Mel's front door. Mel welcomes them both with open arms, completely unaware of the intense observation 𝒂𝒅𝒄 is about to start. 𝒂𝒅𝒄 senses Dominic's power and assumes Axion must be under some kind of powerful love spell. Axion finds some soap bubbles, but the suspicious wizard thinks it's some kind of dark magic experiment. 𝒂𝒅𝒄 plans to use his magic if things go bad, totally unaware of Mel's kind heart. They head outside as the young wizard prepares to strike, but then Mel blows the magic bubbles. And that's where we leave it. Trust me, you're going to love what happens next. All right, you and I are about to watch Melanie try to prove her magic is safe to the suspicious Knight Gareth. He plays with the toy and soon feels a strange, dreamlike haze beginning to cloud his adult logic. He lets down his guard and becomes a child again, simply enjoying the bubbles in a wholesome moment. He doesn't even realize he's emptied the entire bottle until Melanie asks him if he likes the sensation. He tries to convince himself it is not fun, even though his face says he wants more. She offers him iced cordials, but the knight is determined to resist her shop's charms this time. In the end, he fails and enjoys the drink. Alastair believes she should marry his brother instead. Suddenly, his older brother Prince Cedric arrives. It turns out they are already acquainted with each other. Melanie finally realizes little 𝒂𝒊𝒅 is actually the kingdom's youngest prince as they sit down together. Now pay attention here. 𝒂𝒊𝒅's innocent words make Melanie look like she's using the prince for her own gain. This is when Cedric questions her true intentions regarding the shop and her help for his brother. In the original story, Cedric takes the throne alongside Serena and the ruthless Duke Hastings. Cedric is meant to be the wisest noble who falls for Serena, so Melanie wishes to avoid him. She simply tells him the truth, that her dream is to run a business that makes children happy. However, the prince warns her that she will struggle to run a normal shop with so many enemies. She takes the chance to ask if Cedric is also one of those enemies. The prince denies it, and she finally smiles with a sense of genuine relief. Before they leave her shop, she gives them a full pack of ale drops to share with friends. Since the crown prince himself is visiting, she prepares a special gift based on what she knows from the book. The prince has been haunted by dark dreams since the mysterious death of his siblings. You and I both know those mysterious deaths weren't accidents. They were likely part of a darker plan. Serena was supposed to comfort him, but Melanie intends to establish a good connection with him first instead. She gives him a dream catcher, a special charm meant to help him experience better and more peaceful dreams. She lies about hiring a mage to craft it, but the prince immediately recognizes the magic as her own. He accepts the gift, stunned that the rumored talentless girl is actually so gifted. Sweet 𝒂𝒊𝒅 shares the sweets with his classmates, and they are an instant hit. On the other side of town, Marissa overhears 𝒂𝒊𝒅 and Gareth talking and recognizes Melanie's name immediately. She knows Melanie is a 𝒂𝒊𝒅, but fears the girl hates her family's name. The prince's free advertising brings a crowd of students to the shop's front door. Melanie and Dominic prepare a special treat for them, candy that changes the color of the kids' tongues. She hugs Dominic in excitement once the kids leave, but he pulls away, citing his sacred vow of celibacy. She assures him it was just a friendly hug, promising to respect his purity. This playful moment is cut short when a hooded Royal Academy student suddenly walks into their small shop. The girl offers an apology apple, and Melanie responds with a sweet honey candy. The stranger reveals her face, introducing herself as Marissa, sister of the Duke. The poor girl felt compelled to apologize for her brother's cruel and arrogant behavior. Marissa has actually been watching from the outside and notices how gentle Melanie truly is with the children. She leaves quickly, while her brother Hastings hosts a lavish banquet for the nobility. The nobles congratulate him on his massive magical stone tree, fascinated by the power it holds in his yard. Hastings is desperate to ally with the Magic Kingdom and their legendary sorcerers. He wants to find the great hero's legendary sword, but he has no idea where the hero is. Little does he know, the hero is happily working at Melanie's humble candy shop. Once he has everything, he plans to seize the imperial throne for himself. Duke Hastings learns that Duke Valerius has already moved to have Melanie officially expelled from the capital. Trust me, Hastings is in for it. Stick with me. You are about to watch Melania challenge the Emperor himself if it ever comes down to a trial. Word reached the Duke that his daughter was starting a business, and now he wants her back under his control. But Lady Isabella has other plans, throwing a tea party to poison the socialites with rumors that she is launching a shop with Duke Harrison. She tells the ladies they will open a children's boutique together, even sharing Melania's secret plans while pretending to be a concerned friend. Isabella even claims they will involve her sister Serafina to help manage the whole operation. Meanwhile, Prince Alaric visits Melania at her stationery shop to warn her about the malicious flyers spreading all over the capital. Melania rushes to the construction site where Lady Isabella plans to build a rival general store, specifically targeting highborn children. The site is barely 10 minutes from her own door, and there she finds Duke Harrison waiting for her. He mocks her humble shop and tells her to go home, completely ignoring the previous warnings she gave him. She threatens to expose his affair with her sister, but like every other coward, Harrison denies having a secret lover. He tries to bribe her into silence with a rare jewel, but his arrogance only makes her loathing burn brighter. Watch closely, because this obnoxious duke thinks no one will ever believe her words over his noble reputation now. Just as the tension peaks, little Lady Beatrice rushes in to save Melania from her own brother's harassment. Beatrice is an illegitimate child who clearly despises Harrison, which might be exactly why she is siding with Melania. Melania refuses to use a child as a weapon, and even Harrison backs off once his younger sister gets involved. Beatrice calls her brother a filthy man and storms away with Melania, leaving the Duke standing there in total shock. Back at the shop, the whole gang of kids is already there, happily cooling off with frozen treats. Beatrice promises to find Melania a better husband, which leaves Kieran and Arthur looking very confused about the whole plan. She exposes her brother's affair and his plot to ruin Melania's business, making the kids, and even Dominic, absolutely furious. Dominic is ready for blood, while Prince Alaric stays silent, leading Beatrice to question if the Crown Prince is helping. It turns out even the prince is on her side, while Melania just watches her adorable new friend plan a mission. You and I can see these kids are forming their own little rescue squad, and honestly, it is way too cute. The young matchmakers hold a meeting, but Kieran is the only one who has not found a husband candidate yet. Later, Kieran receives a letter from Lord Sebastian, saying he will be visiting the capital very soon. He realizes his master fits every requirement for a perfect husband, and he can already see them together as a couple. Hoping for the best, he writes back immediately, asking to introduce Lord Sebastian to his wonderful new friend Melania. Sebastian receives the letter and smiles, which immediately makes his companion Rasmus start teasing him about it. Rasmus is suspicious of the shopkeeper, since little Henry has been acting strange and begging to see her again. Henry is officially part of the squad now, and even the stern Lord Sebastian thinks she sounds charming. They discuss a recent theft, and Sebastian is now certain that Melania is not the person they seek. Still, he sensed both dragon and demon energy from her, and since the stolen vessel was blessed by a dragon, he remains curious. He tells Rasmus to hatch the dragon egg carefully, so they can use the creature to track down the true thief. Sebastian decides to see for himself, and agrees to meet the mysterious woman Kieran mentioned in his letter. Local merchants gather outside Melania's shop, worried because a massive rival store is being built right next to hers. They surprise her with a stack of petitions that could delay the Duke's opening for at least 15 days. They still do not know she is Duke Valerius's daughter, and signing those papers means they are all risking his wrath. She is deeply touched by their bravery and does not want to break the illusion, so she accepts their help with grace. Melania bows to the merchants, expressing her gratitude for their kindness in this difficult battle against the nobility. She knows the petition might not stop the authorities, but she swears she will not let their genuine efforts go to waste. Her tiny squad enters the shop with a plan to defeat the Duke. Beatrice reveals her brother is sponsoring the Youth Gala, the biggest annual event for the Academy's wealthy children. It is a massive social stage where kids show off their status, so the squad wants Melania to bring her best items. They plan to promote her store during the gala, but Kieran is saddened because commoners are strictly forbidden from attending. Melania comforts him with a warm hug and a promise to make him something special before the big day arrives. Trust me, you and I are going to love seeing how this counterattack plays out. Stick with me. All right, you and I are diving into a world of magic, snacks, and sweet revenge. Melina is getting creative. She is making something sky-themed that Lord Dominic just cannot grasp. But seriously, the man has been busy. He captured a spy to dig up dirt, discovering that Lady Hildegard and Viscount Tellin are plotting something big. Tellin is this unhinged mage indebted to the Duchess. They are definitely cooking up trouble for the upcoming gala. Obviously, Melina and Dominic won't let them touch the children. Not on their watch. Word is, Tellin has something sinister. He created a dreamstone meant to boost learning, but it has a dark side. It can trigger horrifying nightmares. Melina hears this and starts planning a counterstrike using a shadow spirit she can only hold for 3 seconds. The debutante ball finally arrives. Every mother there is gasping at the sheer wealth of the Duke of Hastings. They immediately start eyeing the Duke's little sister, already dreaming of marrying their sons into the powerful family line. It is like Lady Marable is invisible. Meanwhile, Prince Alaric and Marable are just waiting for Melina to arrive. Marable even has a flower ready, but when their turn to present comes and Melina is missing, they panic. Now watch this, because here's the part where everything gets noisy. Melina finally bursts through those grand doors. The nobles start whispering insults, but Hildegard is stunned. The whole mood shifts the second Melina steps into view. She looks breathtaking in emerald green. Marable and Alaric cannot stop gushing over how absolutely radiant she looks right now. After accepting the flower, it is showtime. Everyone is about to see exactly what Melina brought to the party. She spots her stepmother's table of dreamstones, but those rocks are nothing compared to what Melina has up her sleeve. Her new creation is a total head-turner. Marable and Alaric excitedly introduce our girl to the rest of the nobility. She reveals her magical sky-spun sweets. The 2 children start handing the treats out to all the other students. The Viscount sneers at her, calling the treat basic. Melina takes that personally because this was made for the kids. He has no idea that she already tampered with his precious dreamstones when no one was looking earlier today. In just 3 seconds, she pulled off her plan perfectly. The children are absolutely loving the new magical treats. Even the chairman is impressed after one bite, seeing beautiful visions. Melina explains her sweets are better than dreamstones. They boost mana and grant wonderful dreams. Hildegard and Tellin are losing bad. Plus, Melina starts bragging about her work. She claims it was just simple alchemy. Meanwhile, a young girl named Alice is feeling ignored by the whole crowd. Nobody cares about her art until Alaric hands her some sky-spun candy. Suddenly, the little girl's entire world lights up. One bite brings back memories of the first time someone praised her painting. It is exactly the boost she needed. Let's pause for a second. This wholesomeness is exactly what we needed, right? Melina is truly changing these kids' lives. The Viscount thinks she is bluffing, but the prince backs her up. They check the candy and find the truth. It really does boost mana. The kids are dying to know the name, but Melina hasn't even named it yet. Marable steps in and names it Sweet Dreams Candy. It is perfect. Everyone in the room is totally hooked now. The nobility finally respects her arcane skills. That awful, cursed blood title is finally a thing of the past now. Tellin tries to use his dreamstone, but it is a total dud. The nobles are furious and start canceling orders. Hildegard turns her back on him completely, tossing the poor guy under house arrest to save her own reputation instead. Here is the secret. Dominic told Melina to make a deal with the Blade spirits, a trade for their power. She gives them what they want, they do the work. Easy. Using her unique mana, the deal is set. She summons the spring flower spirit and trades a contract for a slushie. Remember those 3 seconds from before? Yeah. That was the spirit draining the magic from Tellin's stones. The next day, Melina finds Tellin in a deep coma. He tried to end it all, so they seal him inside the blade. He is the perfect witness against Hildegard. Now, she has an invite to St. Sophia's Academy from Lady Marcella. This ball is her chance to find customers. It is an elite school for ladies, so the business potential is huge. But there is one problem: no escort. Dominic has to stay hidden, so he is out. Then, Sir Kalen shows up to save the day for her. Kalen stays silent for 10 minutes straight, so Melina just gives him the toy she promised him as a gift. It is a trick plastic sword. She mentions the ball and her lack of a partner to take with her. She asks Kalen to be her escort. This is his chance to finally introduce his master to our lovely lead. And that's where we leave it, trust me. You're going to want to see what happens next. Stay tuned. Stick with me. You and I are diving into a world where a cursed necklace and a duke's rejection change everything. Kieran vows to bring a gift tomorrow, but Melanie just blushes and tells him that having him there is gift enough. Lord 𝒂𝒂𝒅 receives a secret letter from Kieran regarding a certain lady in need. Kieran explains that Melanie needs an escort, and this is their perfect chance to finally get much closer. Sir Roland reports that Duke Hastings is acting strange lately and has been stalking Lady Melanie in secret. 𝒂𝒂𝒅 suspects the Duke will crash the ball, so he agrees to Kieran's plan to catch a thief there. The next day, Melanie meets her new escort, the charming 𝒂𝒂𝒅, who is currently in a disguise. She is convinced he is the father of young Henry as he introduces himself as Matthew, the single earl. He claims to be an earl researcher looking for a partner for the party, but our girl wants to verify his story first. Noticing her suspicion, he offers his official identification to prove he is a man she can trust at last. She realizes how handsome he truly is up close and learns he is chasing a thief who stole his property recently. Meanwhile, Duke Blackwood is furious after Lady Beatrice loses to Melanie and fails to double their gold reserves. The lady calls Seraphina in a panic, but she is told there is absolutely no reason for them to worry. Pay attention here, because Melanie is marked by the dragon. Her enemies are already certain she is going to die. Beatrice is feeling the pressure and wants the trial for her expulsion to move forward immediately. On the day of the gala, Melanie wears a stunning blue gown only to learn the trial has been moved. An unknown carriage arrives at her estate, and she quickly realizes these are the men sent by her father. She has no interest in her family and acts quite unladylike as she greets them from a garden bench. Melanie refuses to let them inside, ordering them to say their piece right there in the open air. They hand her a letter from the Duke demanding her return, but she knows reading it is a total waste. She rips the parchment to shreds before their eyes, sending them away with a dark and chilling smile. Now, you and I need to see this entrance. Matthew arrives just as those pests get annoying. She tells the guards to inform her father he can speak to her himself, but she is no longer the daughter he once knew. Once they are inside the carriage, Melanie appreciates that he is kind enough not to ask about her family. To break the awkward silence, she asks him if he is a regular guest at these noble parties. Since it is a masquerade theme, she hands him a mask and puts on her own to hide her identity. As he naturally adjusts her hair, she realizes she is becoming strangely comfortable with this mysterious man by her side. Upon arriving, she greets Lady Marcella, but the lady's mood sours when she sees Melanie's handsome new escort. Melanie forgot that Marcella despises infidelity, and everyone expected her to arrive with her fiancé, the wicked Duke Hastings. In the original story, Melanie was the only one brave enough to publicly condemn the Duke's affair with Lady Seraphina. She introduces Matthew as a mere acquaintance, and the music begins for the very first dance of the grand evening. She is shocked by how well Matthew dances for a man who claims he avoids high society events. Their romantic moment is cut short when she accidentally stomps on his shoe, leaving her feeling deeply embarrassed. A terrified noblewoman approaches and pulls her away for a walk, despite Matthew's best attempts to keep Melanie close. Thinking the lady is a friend, Melanie follows her into the garden only to be shoved by a man. It is Lennox Hastings, and it is clear the Duke is not looking for a friendly conversation tonight. He notices she is not wearing his necklace and suspects that her hidden powers are finally starting to manifest out loud. He creates a magical barrier so no one can hear them, intending to end her life right then and there. Since he can no longer control her, this villain starts strangling Melanie while ranting about his truly twisted plans. Melanie did not come unprepared and remembers Sir Julian's advice on exactly how to strike back when in danger. She kicks the Duke where it hurts, sending him to his knees as we all cheer for her victory. While Julian works to break the barrier, she goads Hastings into confessing his secret affair with Lady Seraphina. Just as he admits the truth, the barrier shatters, exposing his confession to every single noble in the mansion. 𝒂𝒂𝒅 throws his coat over her, and glares at the Duke with pure disgust as the entire crowd gasps. And that is where you and I leave off, with Lady Marcella supporting our girl while the Duke's reputation burns. All right, you and I are watching Melody gain a friend, while Hastings is losing his mind before the court. Arthur and 𝒂𝒂𝒅 leave the party and return to their carriage. Ignoring her bruises, she asks many questions. She asks if he found the thief. He did, and the culprit is the Duke. He sensed magic. Power flowed through the void, but he could not find the relic, which would be evidence for punishment. He intends to make the Duke pay, but tonight his goal was identifying the royal thief. However, something bothers him. He becomes agitated when he sees the dark mark on Melody's skin. 𝒂𝒂𝒅 admits he planned to save her earlier, but assumed she already had a brilliant plan. He only watched from the shadows, while Melody quickly denies having a plan and says it was luck. He is disappointed that she will not open up and thinks he will lose his chance tonight. So before it is too late, our guy musters the courage to admit he is worried for her. Now pay attention, because he reveals his true identity. He is 𝒂𝒂𝒅 Reinhold, the Citadel Master. She is stunned, but probes him further until she discovers his companions are also Citadel wizards. When she runs out of questions, she finds the most essential detail. He is a master of alchemy. She asks him to teach her alchemy, and 𝒂𝒂𝒅 agrees in exchange for help with his revenge. She realizes the thief he is hunting is Duke Hastings. Therefore, they share one common enemy. In the novel, 𝒂𝒂𝒅 went missing after trying to kill the Duke and was branded a villain. Now she wants to establish a rule between them. They must truly work together against the Duke. He agrees and gives her a magical bird to act as their secret messenger between the houses. Meanwhile, Hastings leaves the party humiliated and plans his revenge by using the stolen relic. Serena contacts Sterling. He tells her how excited he is for their marriage and bringing Melody down. He notices something in her background. She says it is a dark item related to Melody's curse. She invites him to the sanctum. He agrees, since they can return after Melody's final expulsion trial. Meanwhile, Beatrice and her circle spread rumors about the Duke's cheating and pray for Melody. Stick with me here. Beatrice is actually the leader of the prestigious Retro Circle group. The Retro Circle is a secretive group of enthusiasts who appreciate rare finds at their school. Melody is commissioned by the Circle to create a unique item that can store memories for them. Then Dominic hands her the expulsion letter. It is finally happening tomorrow when Arthur storms the shop. She requested to meet his father, the king. She assumed it would not be simple or easy. But Arthur casually invites her to the royal family gathering today without a second thought. He then notices the letter and comforts her, saying he does not care about her title. He asks her to wait 20 years until he becomes a Grand Duke and restores her name. Melody is truly grateful for this innocent boy. She still has time to give the king a gift. She learns the king loves healthy sweets. Arthur leaves so she can start making the treats. They arrive at the royal palace that night. While the king works, they decide to play first. Since he is Arthur's candidate, he asks Prince Cedric to join their game of luck and chance. Melody explains her board where each paper costs money. One must pick carefully to win a prize. After many tries, Arthur gets lucky and wins a teddy bear. He asks his brother to play. Melody is surprised the prince is actually waiting. Our Lady has introduced games of chance here. Soon, everyone will be addicted. Cedric has picked nothing but bad draws and doubts her game. Well, actually, Melody manipulated the board so Arthur would win. She did it for his smile. They start to argue silently, but in Arthur's eyes it looks romantic. He thinks they're in love. She understands Arthur is acting out of concern, so she explains they can still be friends. She reassures Arthur that she will grow close to Cedric, but only because they both adore him. However, it looks like her words are actually hurting Cedric's pride. He looks deeply troubled. Trust me, you and I won't want to miss what happens next. The king finally arrives. You and I are diving into a story where our girl is the hated daughter of Duke Barlow. The crown is actually losing power. Since his children died, the emperor has stayed hidden in his dark palace. Meanwhile, High Lords Hastings and Barlow rule the markets. To ease attention, she offers the emperor a gift. Both princes swear he will love it. She remembers Seraphina giving him a magical bird in the original. Instead of a bird, she prepared handmade herbal caramels. She leans in close, whispering about their hidden benefits. These treats contain salian. Pay attention, it gives a massive boost to the emperor's stamina. Dominic suggested this because he knows older men are always looking for more physical energy. He happened to have a 1,000-year-old salian root in his sword, making it an incredibly rare find. As she explains its power, the emperor starts to soften and feels a sudden wave of deep nostalgia. He remembers his childhood days of eating treats. He absolutely loves the gift for so many reasons. He offers her anything. Trust me, Melody has been waiting for this exact moment. It is time for the law. When a noble gives to the crown, the emperor must provide a reward of equal value. Seraphina wants one. But not today. She asks to speak with the emperor alone. We will stop the story here for today. I know you want more. Go ahead and ask for the next part in the comments below now. Thanks for watching and supporting the channel. Please subscribe so you never miss an update from our team. See you there, friends.